Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I seek refuge with Allah from a first Satan. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and merciful. Welcome and good evening. In keeping with our tradition, we will start the event with the recitation of the Holy Quran. I request Mr. Muhammad Fidahi to come and recite Holy Quran, and after following that, Mr. Muzaffar Ahmad to share the translation with us.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله يأمركم أن تؤدوا الأمانات إلى أهلها وإذا حكمتم بين الناس أن تحكموا بالعدل. إن الله نعم ما يعظكم به. إن الله كان سميعا بصيرا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر. ذلك خير وأحسن تأويلا.
Translation. And this is from Holy Quran chapter 4 verses 59 and 60. And this chapter is called Al-Nisa. Verily, Allah commands you to give over the trusts to those entitled to them, and that when you judge between men, you judge with justice. And surely excellent is that with which Allah admonishes you. Allah is all hearing, all seeing. O ye who believe, obey Allah and obey His messenger and those who are in authority among you. And if you differ in anything, refer it to Allah and His messenger. If you are believers in Allah and the last day, that is best and most commendable in the end.
Distinguished panelists and fellow citizens, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. I would like to extend a sincere thank you to all of you for coming. My name is Imran Malik, and I represent the local chapter in Indiana of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. Just a few housekeeping items and then we'll get started. There is a comment card, a couple of flyers, a program, and a commemorative pen at your desk or at your chair. And if you don't have one, please let us know and we'll get one for you. The comment card is for feedback, and also if you have any questions. We have a question and answer session at the end of the program, and we will collect those. So if you have a question, we will collect those cards from you. After the dinner, in a conference room in this building, we will be playing a video that would show introduction of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. It's a 20-minute video, and we also have some literature on hand that you can take with you if you like. That video will start after dinner, and we will be playing it multiple times. So have a relaxing dinner, and if you're having a good conversation, don't cut it short. With that out of the way, I'll ask Mr. Sukrat Babar to share a brief introduction of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. Thank you.
Good evening and assalamu alaikum. I'd like to firstly thank our respected speakers for devoting their time to be here today. I'd also like to thank our guests for attending what will hopefully be an insightful and constructive conversation. Furthermore, I would like to make a personal appeal that each of you salvage any moment you get to educate others on what you know to be the accurate teachings of Islam, or any faith for that matter. I feel that this country's greatest threat is misinformation, for it leads to fear, and fear leads to hate. I feel that my humble opinion is that hate's opposite, love, along with it, respect for our melting pot of beliefs and opinions, will make America mend its existing wounds. The following will be a general introduction and list of facts concerning the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here, from here on known as the AMC. The AMC is a dynamic, fast-growing international revival movement within Islam, spanning 190 countries with membership exceeding tens of millions. AMC USA, established in 1921, is the first American Muslim organization. Its journal, The Muslim Sunrise, is among the earliest and longest-running American Muslim periodicals. We categorically reject terrorism in any form. We believe that aggressive jihad by the sword has no place in Islam. We are the only Islamic organization to endorse the separation of mosque and state. We champion empowerment and education of women by reintroducing the forgotten and or misconstrued Islamic injunctions to the Muslims around the world. We advocate for universal human rights and protection for religious and ethnic minorities. We are proudly among the most law-abiding, educated, and engaged Muslims in the world. We have a central spiritual leader. Our fifth and current spiritual leader, Mirza Masroor Ahmad, resides in the United Kingdom. We have built over 10,000 mosques, 500 schools, and 30 hospitals around the world. We run a 24-hour satellite television channel, MTA.TV. We can be found on the internet at www.alaysalam.org and in print through Islam International Publications. We will forever stand by our maxim and resonating belief, love for all and hatred for none. AMC is the only Islamic organization to believe that the long-awaited Messiah has come in the person of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad alayhi salatu wasalam, 1835 to 1908 of Qadian. Ahmad alayhi salatu wasalam claimed to be the metaphorical second coming of Jesus alayhi salatu wasalam of Nazareth and the divine guide, whose advent was foretold by the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. AMC believes that God sent Ahmad alayhi salatu wasalam, like Jesus alayhi salatu wasalam, to end religious wars, condemn bloodshed, reinstitute morality, justice, and peace. He has also united the family of religions under the single banner of the true Islam by safeguarding the teachings of the noble prophets, Abraham, Jesus, Moses, Krishna, Buddha, Confucius, and Zoroaster, peace be upon them all, as well as the great saints Guru Nanak and Lao Tzu. I encourage you all to further your education of our faith, as we Ahmadi Muslims reciprocally make a constant effort to increase our knowledge base of the teachings of all worldly religions and doctrinal systems. Thank you. God bless you. Assalamu alaikum.
I would like to introduce to you our host for the rest of the program. His name is Charlie Wiles. He holds a degree in political science from Indiana University and has spent several years working for the Indiana State Legislature. He opened a general contracting business renovating older homes in 1980s, served as a combat medic in the U.S. Army Reserves from 1991 to 1999, From 1997 to 2003, Charlie was executive director of Peace Learning Center, a not-for-profit organization focused on teaching youth nonviolent methods to resolve conflict. Charlie is currently director of International Interfaith Initiative, acting director of Center of Interfaith Cooperation, and has volunteered with several community organizations, including Veterans for Peace and Habitat for Humanity's House of Abraham. He is happily married to Sachiku Utsumi Wiles. They live on the north side of Indianapolis with their 3 daughters, Lena, Aya, and Mia Utsumi Wiles. Please welcome Charlie Wiles.
Well, thank you, Imran, and thank you everyone for being here. As MC, it's going to be one of my wonderful opportunity to invite our first speaker to the microphone, and she's a young woman who wrote a poem particularly for this event tonight, and that's Maha Muzaffar. And Maha, would you please come and share your beautiful poem with us?
Good evening, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Maha Muzaffar, and I'm going to be reading a poem I made called Picture of Peace. The pain we all have suffered, the endless flow of tears, after all the work we go through to let peace come here. Why can't we all stay here with kindness and share the bombs, the attacks, the hatred? Is it really fair? The word Islam means peace. Is that really showing? Some Muslims being violent in America. Poison of hatred is flowing. It has come the time to stop this. It's just not right. Muslims should be loyal to their country. Don't fight. Every day it happens. Our reputation is tainted. Muslims for loyalty. That is a picture yet to be painted. Today we have come here, together as one, talking, hoping, dreaming. Soon it will be all done. I am glad I'm in the Ahmadiyya community, where jihad, killing, bombing exists no more. But still, there's so much more work to do. I want to work on making peace. Our logo is love for all, hatred for none. I wish the world's different colors could blend on a fleece. No more battles, just happiness, love, and fun. Together we can build it. Even though we are small in number, true Muslims' love is strong. When all the hatred has finally fainted, love, peace, and joy, the picture is finally painted.
Thank you, Maha, and I think that captures the essence of why we're here this evening. And on behalf of the Indiana Interchurch Center, I want to make sure everyone feels welcome in being in this building. This building was actually built as an ecumenical effort between 4 mainline Protestant churches or denominations back in 1967. And I believe in the 70s, a Jewish group, the Jewish Community Relations Council, brought their offices into this building. And then our effort, the Center for Interfaith Cooperation, we partnered with 4 different organizations, one of them being the Muslim Alliance of Indiana, to rent an office suite in this building as well. So it's truly becoming from an ecumenical into an interfaith effort. And so that's why we are so happy to host this event with the Ahmadiyya community, which is just very timely given some of the news that's the national, international news these days. When the group came to me saying that they wanted to host the event here, I was really encouraged, and I loved their spirit. A lot of it was based from some negative stereotyping and some taunts that their children have been receiving in the public schools here in Indianapolis. And through our work in the Peace Learning Center for the last decade, we've been trying to work to dispel stereotypes, to give children an opportunity to talk to one another and to help shed light on some of that ignorance that we talked about earlier. A couple of other things really inspired me when I met with the group. One was that they wanted frank, open, and honest question and answer period. They didn't want to miss an opportunity for people. We hope we're not preaching to the choir, but I see a lot of value in doing that we inspire one another, we go out and we talk, and I think, as you said so eloquently, that we go out and try to share what's good about our faith and try to learn what's good about other people's faith, and not allow the extremists and the negative voices to rule at the end of the day. So we hope we have a good, frank, and open question and answer period. The second thing I mentioned, I got an email when we broadcast or we promoted this event, and someone said, well, I think religion is the problem. And when I mentioned that to the committee, one of the committee members said, well, they've got a point. And so I thought that was good that we addressed that and that we understand that religion can be a problem as well as it can be a solution. And tonight I think we're all here in like mind that religion can very much be part of the solution when we work together. And I believe events like this are in the strongest tradition of our American democracy, that a democracy is as strong as the minority communities within it can thrive. And I believe that that's what we're here about. That's why I'm happy to be part of this event. And I believe that's why what brought all the dignitaries here to the table. A little bit again about this building. We have a couple of different displays that if you have an opportunity, I encourage you to attend. Upstairs in the Cranert room, we have an exhibit on homelessness called Beyond Perceptions, and that's just up the stairs on the second floor. And also here in the art gallery, we have a wonderful exhibit by Dr. Mark Peskovitz, who unfortunately passed away last November, but he was a physician from Riley Hospital, a transplant physician. He was very high up in the Jewish community here in Indianapolis, and he traveled to Iran, he traveled to Saudi Arabia, he traveled to Lebanon to share his skills as a physician with colleagues abroad, and he always took a camera. And when I met with him in a couple of dialogue sessions, we agreed that he would share some of his pictures in the gallery. So if you have a moment, I mean, when you go down to the book sales and see the video that the community has down the hallway here, please stop in the gallery and look at some of Dr. Peskovitz's photographs. And that is why our organization exists. We believe that by promoting interfaith cooperation, we are strengthening civil society. The agenda for this evening, we're going to have our dignitaries speak and share a few words, and I will just introduce them in the order that they will speak. They'll spend a few moments at the microphone, and then I'll come back and introduce our keynote speaker, the Honorable Naseem Mahdi. And then we will do the question and answer period, and then I believe we're in for a treat. We'll have a wonderful dinner together and spend some time in dialogue and in friendship. So the speakers for this evening will be Dr. Frank Straub. He is the Director of Public Safety for the City of Indianapolis. He will be followed by Gary Coons. He's the Chief Division of Homeland Security here in Indianapolis, and I believe for the state, no, for the city of Indianapolis. Robert Race will follow that. He's the Acting Supervisory Special Agent for the FBI in the Indianapolis Division. And then Emily Hillenbrand, she represents Senator Richard Lugar's office, and she is in charge of Military and Veterans Affairs. And finally, the last speaker from the dignitaries that are at the table here in front is Chris Warden. He's the District Director for Congressman Andre Carson. So without further ado, I'll ask Dr. Frank Straub to come to the microphone.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to share a story with you that is very personal and actually represents my first experience with the Muslim religion and the Muslim culture. On 9/11 in 2001, I was on my way to become the Deputy Commissioner of Training for the New York City Police Department. I ended up at the World Trade Center. I was there when both towers came down and watched the horror of that day. 2 weeks later, I joined the NYPD as their Deputy Commissioner of Training. And as you can imagine, we were pretty well taken with the rescue and the recovery efforts at that time. Well, there was a young man who was missing. His name was Mohammed Salman Hamdani. He was 23 years old. He was a Muslim and a Pakistani American. And when it was determined that he was missing, the press and unfortunately a lot of public officials immediately claimed that he was a terrorist. That in fact he went into the World Trade Center for the purposes of guiding the planes to their targets. And from 9/11 until March of 2002, that conversation went on in the public. In March of 2002, we found his remains. And with his remains, we found his medical bag. He was on his way that day to Rockefeller Medical College. And when he saw the planes hit the World Trade Center, he didn't go to college. Rather, he went to the World Trade Center because he was an EMT, an emergency medical technician. And he went to the World Trade Center to help people, like so many of us did, regardless of our religion, our ethnicity, or the color of our skin. He was killed when the North Tower collapsed. I was a little bit luckier. I was saved by a fire truck parked about a block away, or a half a block away. And out of too many months of pretty disgusting and unfortunate comments about him came something very important. If you read the USA Patriot Act, Title I, Section 102, the section entitled Sense of Congress Condemning Discrimination Against Arab and Muslim Americans, they mention this young man. And they mention what he did on 9/11. So tonight's event is very, very important. It's important for all of us that we take time to think about how quickly we form opinions of each other based on appearance, based on our ethnicity, based on our accents, based on where we're from. And all too often, those stereotypes, those initial images, block all future conversations. They block understanding. They block opportunities for us to get to know each other and for us to work with each other in very positive ways. So tonight you have my commitment as the Director of Public Safety that that will not happen in Indianapolis, and it will not be tolerated. You have my commitment and the commitment of approximately 3,500 men and women that work for me that we value your religion, we value tonight, and we value open and honest dialogue, and we look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me tonight. I'm one of the 3,500 men and women that work for the director, so I'm committed to his mission, and will support his mission as part of the Department of Public Safety as a whole. I also had a great opportunity in the last few months to attend a school out on the west coast of the United States, out in Monterey, California. We spent a whole week just learning about the Muslim faith so we can learn more and how we can respect each other's religions, how we integrate with each other's religions. I learned more about my faith and your faith, and how they are starting to work together even further. So this is a great opportunity for my heart to be a part of this, to be a part with you, to learn. I welcome open and honest dialogue. We're here to serve you. We're here to serve the entire city, the county, the region, no matter what ethnic culture you're a part of. And we hope that you'll partner with us, and that we partner with you, and we build stronger relationships and stronger friendships to be the best, as grow as a family together, as a community. And that's where safety and happiness lie, is in the family and in the heart. So I thank you for allowing me to come out, and we are committed as a city, as a county, and we're here for you. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bob Race. I'm an acting supervisory special agent with the FBI. I supervise a joint terrorism task force here in Indianapolis, and we're actually responsible for the entire state of Indiana. Before I came here, I thought, what would I talk about? What could I give to you that you don't already know? You know, as I pondered that, I got to thinking, what's in your mind? What do you think of law enforcement? What do you think of the FBI? You know, a lot of times we're looked at as the guys who come in and arrest people, or we're the big thug in the room. And that could be further from the point for us. One of the things that we do, and I believe we do well, is our community outreach. Gatherings like this, whether it's an interfaith gathering, a business gathering, or an educational gathering, with agents and civilian population where we can talk about what your concerns are and what our concerns are. Because there will come a time where not only will you need us from a law enforcement perspective, but we're going to need you. You have a wealth of information for us about your culture, about what's going on in your communities, and about your faith. And as I can learn more about you, I can do my job much better. And I can ensure that my agents who work for me do the same. And that's treating you with respect, making sure that we're aggressively pursuing any allegations of wrongdoings, whether it's based on the way you look or what you believe. That's why we're here. That's why I do my job. So I look forward to tonight, to again, the question and answer period. Please ask anything that's in your hearts. I will answer from my heart as well. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emmy Hildebrand from Senator Lugar's office. The Senator really appreciated the invitation tonight, and he asked that I share the following letter with each of you. Dear friends, I appreciate the invitation of the Indiana Interfaith Initiative and the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community to attend tonight's Muslims for Loyalty event. I regret that I could not attend, but I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. As chairman and now ranking member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I have led and participated in hearings regarding engaging Muslim communities at home and abroad. I am proud when Hoosiers lead the way, and tonight's event is a timely opportunity to continue the ongoing dialogue. Following the death of Osama bin Laden and the so-called Arab Spring in the Middle East, we are in a better position to promote freedom and liberty along with religious tolerance around the world. I have encouraged President Obama and his administration to urge everyone in government, from diplomats, development experts, contractors, and members of the military, to continue to reach out to Muslims and work toward more productive engagements in the Middle East. I was pleased in 2009 when the often vacant Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy position was filled to address this challenge. We must continue to support exchanges that bring people from other nations into contact with talented Americans capable of explaining and representing our country. After September 11, 2001, I introduced legislation to establish the Cultural Bridges Program and provide scholarships for high school students from countries with significant Muslim populations to study in the United States. Subsequently, the State Department created the YES program, and thousands of students have participated, many attending schools here in Indiana. We must also improve recruitment of Muslim Americans and those who have expertise in Muslim cultures into diplomatic and military service, and I look forward to the engagement of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in this effort. Thank you again for the invitation to be with you tonight as you address religious tolerance and minority integration into our community. Best wishes for a thoughtful evening. Sincerely, Dick Lugar, United States Senator.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Chris Warden, and I am the District Director for Congressman Andre Carson. Whenever you work for a dynamic individual, it's good in the respect that you get to see his dynamism in operation every single day, but it's bad when you get to be sent out as his surrogate, because you know you're going to be a poor substitute. I wanted to let you know, though, that the Congressman appreciates the invitation, and he's sorry that he's not able to be here, but I have some words from him as well, if I could read those, and then I'd also like to share a thought if I could. First, greetings. Welcome to the Muslims for Loyalty event. You're gathered tonight to both celebrate and support your faith, citizenship, and to come together for a Muslims for Peace campaign. The International Interfaith Initiative has been serving the greater Indianapolis community since 2005. Through their community service projects, special events, and research, they've been a critical part of keeping Indianapolis a safe and peaceful community. I would like to recognize the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community USA for its longtime service to the American Muslim community, and Mr. Charlie Wiles for his diligent 16 years of service to assuring peace in our local community. I would also like to recognize Mr. Naseem Mahdi, Vice President of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community USA, for his generosity in speaking at tonight's event. Thank you to the International Interfaith Initiative, their staff, and volunteers for hosting this event. I hope everyone here today will be enlightened and continue your work to bring people of all faiths together and teach us to embrace our differences and become accepting of others. Sincerely, Andre Carson, Member of Congress. That letter for you, Charlie. If I could just add briefly, prior to working for Congressman Carson, I worked with the Muslim Alliance of Indiana's Legal Services Clinic and also served as the chairman of the Hoosier Muslim PAC. And I'll never forget receiving a phone call from a colleague of mine, Sharik Siddiqui, at 3 a.m. one night, and he said, "Have you seen the news?" He's very diligent, so it wasn't unusual that he'd be working at 3 in the morning. But I said, "It's 3 in the morning. No, I have not seen the news." And he said, "Please get up and turn on your television." And I did, and I turned on CNN, and it was the night of the Fort Hood shootings. And he said to me, "We have to issue a statement." And one of the things that I noticed in that moment is there is a paradox. Actions were taken that had no connection with the faith that most of us know. And you find yourself in a position of, if we don't denounce it, people will say, "Why didn't you denounce it?" It strikes me as peculiar because there are other organizations that don't have this burden. And so I just wanted to point out that I was asked, what are some things do I think that can be done? And I just want to say, events like this. And it was gratifying to me to see that this event is already in the Indianapolis Star. Because for good or for ill, whether it's fair or not, this is the reality that we all live in right now. These denunciations have to happen. People need to know that the folks who are peaceful and recognize the true Islam far outweigh those who do not. So I'm grateful to have the opportunity and that this conversation can continue. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you to each of our panelists for sharing those wonderful words and the wisdom and the true spirit of our community here in Indianapolis. I want to also mention that from our 2nd Congressional District, Joe Donnelly sent a letter of support for this evening's event. And I'd also like to mention briefly that I've been working with the Mayor's Office, Douglas Hairston from the Front Porch Alliance. And if you're free this Thursday, starting at 11:30 in the afternoon for a lunch, there's going to be an interfaith prayer rally on the north steps of the Indiana War Memorial. It'll be outside, weather permitting. But we have 16 different faith leaders from here in Indianapolis that are going to come and share a prayer. And there'll be a focus on the international community, and the sister city relationships will be celebrated. So if you can join us this Thursday at 11:30 on the north steps of the War Memorial, please do. Now it is my esteemed honor to be able to first to welcome our keynote speaker for this evening. Welcome to Indiana, for gracing us with his presence, for coming to share his wisdom. Mr. Naseem Mahdi, the Honorable Naseem Mahdi, serves as the National Vice President and Missionary in charge of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community USA, one of the oldest Muslim organizations in the United States since 1920. He's an inspiring presenter and author on Islam, the Holy Quran, Sunnah, Hadith, and Islamic jurisprudence. Under the direction and guidance of I knew I was going to stumble on this word, Khilafah-e Ahmadiyya, the spiritual system of leadership of the worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Mr. Mahdi has dedicated his life to serving Islam and spreading his message of love and peace. In 1977, he completed a 7-year missionary training program with emphasis on comparative study of religions from the Missionary Training College of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community in Rabwa, Pakistan. He was immediately appointed to lead the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community of Switzerland. 8 years later, he was assigned to Canada, where he led the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community for 25 years. During his service in Canada, working constantly under the direction of the worldwide spiritual head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, Mr. Mahdi established bonds of warm friendship with many influential figures, including the current and recent Prime Minister of Canada. The building of the largest mosque in North America, Beit Unur in Calgary, was entrusted to his care by Holiness Hadrat Khalifat Masih V. May Allah strengthen him with his mighty support, who personally came to inaugurate it in 2008, together with Mr. Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister of Canada. In 2010, Mr. Mahdi began a new position as National Vice President and Missionary in Charge of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community USA. Since arriving in the United States, Mr. Mahdi has been speaking regularly to both the media and community leaders to illuminate the position of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community on major issues relating to Islam and Muslims living in the United States. He is fluent in several languages, including Arabic, Urdu, English, and German. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Naseem Mahdi to the microphone.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Dignitaries, my brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. May peace be on you all. I always start my presentation with a disclaimer, and that disclaimer is that I don't represent 1.5 billion Muslims in the world. I represent only Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, and my presentation is based on the Holy Quran, tradition of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, interpreted by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, the founder of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. I will start with my personal feeling which I had on 9/11/2001. And Dr. Straub was talking about painful and inspiring event, Muhammad Asfahani. I was almost in tears. I very vividly remember I got a call, but not at 3 a.m., but it was I think about 9 a.m. and I just finished my breakfast. That, are you watching CNN? I said, no. He said, something horrible has happened. And I very clearly remember seeing all, I'm sure most of you have experienced. And this was naturally a horrible, horrible experience that we could see in front of our eyes. A heinous crime, thousands of people were butchered in a matter of few seconds. I immediately sent a message to the Prime Minister of Canada. I was in Toronto at that time. And I offered him that I can mobilize 10,000 volunteers to donate blood for the victims of that atrocity. Unfortunately, majority of the people were killed and our blood was not taken. I remember one of the very senior federal minister of Canada once said in one of his speeches that there were some unfortunate Muslims in some parts of the world who were celebrating that atrocity, and there was a community that was offering their blood. My brothers and sisters, the reaction of Ahmadiyya Muslims was that the real message of Islam has to be given to all the world. And that message is the message of, next slide please, the message of peace. Islam teaches us how to create peace within ourselves and how to make peace with our fellow human beings regardless of color, politics or beliefs. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community has a motto, and that motto is love for all, hatred for none. When you see the world, it's a very, sometimes say it's a dangerous world we are living in, or sometimes I say it's a strange world. There are perceptions about different things, and people are making decisions on perception and stereotypes. Nobody has time to go and research or read from the sources. There's a long list of things, and I'm sure I will not be able to discuss all these, but I can tell you, for example, vast majority of Americans do not have trust in Muslims. Once in a poll, it was asked, would you like to have a Muslim as your neighbor? The answer was no. I don't want to have a neighbor, I don't have a Muslim as my neighbor. There are people, a majority of them in America, they question their loyalty to homeland. People say that perhaps we want to bring the Sharia law because perhaps the President of the United States is a Muslim, and then we will introduce that law in this great country, which will take all the fundamental rights of women, and there will be no human rights. We will destroy this civilization with that Sharia law. How the things are happening in the Muslim countries. This is also an independent topic I will not be able to discuss. And also, especially in Europe, France, Germany, Denmark, Holland, they have very big Muslim minorities, and they are curtailing their freedom because of that fear. So we are living in a world where either in the United States of America or in the other countries, people have fear from Islam and from the Muslims. And they don't trust them. And this is something which we have taken upon ourselves, that this perception has to be changed. I will go to the source. I will not give my personal opinion. I will quote from the Holy Quran, in which God does not talk or address Muslims. And I understand that from this verse we say that Islam promotes a secular political system. Verily Allah, or Allah, the word Allah is used for God. Verily Allah, or God, commands you to make over the trusts to those entitled to them. When you vote, see who is trustworthy. And this vote is our trust, and we will give to the right person, whether Muslim or non-Muslim. It's not mentioned that it has to be to a Muslim, given to a Muslim. And that when you govern people, govern with justice. And surely excellent is that with which Allah or God admonishes you. Allah is all hearing and all seeing. This is the verse which highlight that the trust should be given to those who are entitled to those trusts, whether Muslims or not Muslim. In the next verse, next slide, God says, O ye who believe, obey Allah. Now the believers are mentioned, the Muslims are mentioned. Obey God or obey Allah and obey His messenger and those who are in authority, that is government. Those who are in authority among you. Very clear statement, no ambiguity to all Muslims. That God says that as you are required to obey God and obey the Prophet, you are required to those who are in authority, and that is the government of the day, wherever you live. Now, our Muslim brothers from other sects of Islam, they say, don't you see that it is among you? It means that this has to be a Muslim government. So some of other Muslims, they say that this is a commandment that we should be loyal to only Muslim governments and not non-Muslim government. Ahmadiyya Muslim Community categorically says that wherever you are, if you are part of a country, if people are citizens of this country, they are among, they are voting for those people who are among them. They are part and parcel of that culture or that population. They cannot say that, I am here, I have a citizenship of United States of America, but the government of the day is not from amongst myself. No, this is wrong. We say that wherever you are, according to the Holy Quran, you are required to obey. Obedience does not mean that you don't have the right of dissent. You have the previous slide. Some people say, are you saying that if we have an order directly which is against my conscience, against my faith, I should obey? We say that we are in a democratic society, and a very important pillar of democracy is dissent. If there is no opposition, there is no democracy. So you have the right to say that I don't agree with this law. You can go and lobby against a law. You can talk to your congressman. You can talk to your senator. You can say that I don't feel comfortable with this. But you cannot disobey. You cannot break the law. You can have a right of dissent, and this is not against this verse of the Holy Quran. Next slide. Now, the Holy Quran has so many verses that a Muslim will never ever create disorder, never ever get involved with any kind of disorder. And I quote, and when he is in authority, he runs about in the land to create disorder in it and destroy the crops and the progeny of man. And Allah, or God, loves not disorder. Inna Allah la yuhibbul fasad. This is the Arabic verse. God does not love or does not like disorder. So a Muslim cannot be part of any disorder in any country. Gratitude. We talk about gratitude. The Holy Quran is very clear about it. The reward of goodness is nothing but goodness. If I live in the United States of America and I have a freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of choice, freedom of religion, freedom of practice, freedom of assembly, how can I be against that government? That goodness has to be, reciprocated, that I say that I will obey this country because this country has given me the right to all these basic human rights. Then I quote, and remember also the time when your Lord declared, if you are grateful, I will surely bestow more favors on you. But if you are ungrateful, then know that my punishment is severe indeed. I sometimes say that if you are ungrateful and you don't think that all these basic freedoms have been given to you, the punishment will be that all these freedoms will be taken from you. And I can assure you that most of the Muslims living in the United States of America, they don't enjoy those freedoms in their countries. Last year I asked one of our young lawyers, I said, write a paper giving me the comparison of the laws in the United States of America and all major democracies in the world, and we will see where do we stand. And everybody was happily surprised that the freedom and the basic rights we enjoy in the United States of America has no match whatsoever with any other country of the world. So how a Muslim could be ungrateful to that freedom which he or she enjoys here? The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "He who does not thank people cannot be grateful to God." So if we want to be grateful to God, we have to be grateful to the people. Now many people, as I said, they are here, they enjoy everything, they enjoy freedom, they enjoy business opportunities, they enjoy beautiful, excellent health care, they will have excellent university students for their kids. Every goodie they want to have, this is here. They are enjoying all these things here. And then they say, we cannot be loyal because this is not a Muslim government. This is not ungratefulness. This is hypocrisy. That they don't want to acknowledge what has been given to them. So I say that according to the Holy Quran, they are required to be grateful by giving this back, in that sense that I will say that I am not only grateful, I am loyal to this great country. The Prophet said, love of your homeland, and the word is, and I will say in Arabic, most of the Muslims, they know that. It's a very well-known tradition of Prophet Muhammad. He says, Hubbul watane min al-iman. Love of al-watan. Al-watan is the place of residence. Sometimes people say, this is the place of birth. This is wrong. Wherever you are, wherever you live, that is al-watan. Hubbul watane min al-iman. Love of homeland or your place of residence is part of your faith. So when I say that we should be loyal, the Prophet even said more than loyalty. We should love this country wherever you are. And this is something which we are trying to bring to the attention of not only fellow Americans but also to the Muslims and especially to the Muslim youth, and say, look here, we have no other option. This is not a political statement I am making here. This is part of our faith. We have to be loyal, we have to love this country, we have to be grateful, we will never create disorder, and we will even give our blood for that country if we are loyal. So that is something which has to be understood. Now sometimes people say that if there is a conflict between your religion and state, how will you solve that? First of all, I say that it is not our personal choice, it is our religious duty, because God has made this commandment. The Prophet has made this commandment. So it is not a choice, it is a commandment and we have to follow. So there will never ever a situation where you say that should I be loyal or should I have no other option but to follow these dictates. But then there are laws which you don't like. There could be laws about, for example, definition of marriage. There could be law about abortion. There could be law about anything. And you think that I will not agree with this. What are the means of protest? You will have civil disobedience. You will have violent uprising. You will commit treason. You will have legal recourse. Or you will say that, there are laws which are against my conscience, against my religion. You migrate from this country. What are those choices? Go to the next slide. I have put civil disobedience, no. And I say this based on the Quran and based on the teaching of Prophet Muhammad. A Muslim cannot be part of civil disobedience. A Muslim can never get involved in any kind of violent uprising because God says He does not love disorder. A Muslim who wants to follow the dictates of the Holy Quran and Prophet Muhammad cannot commit treason. Yes, you can have legal recourse, or if you don't like it, then go home. If you don't like here, all these things, all the freedoms and all the goodies, everything, and you don't like it, then why are you here? Then go home where your loyalties are. You can migrate. But as you are here, and as long you are here, you have no other option but to be loyal and law-abiding and grateful citizen of this country. Now, what is the plan of action? We must snatch flag of Islam away from hands of extremists. I will come to this later on. We invite all Muslims to join in this campaign. Silence is not an option. In today's newspaper, it was said by someone that it doesn't matter, doesn't matter whether you speak out or not. There are other ways, and we believe that there are so many other ways. But we have to speak out as Muslims, that we are loyal. Our loyalty, we should speak so much, and we should highlight this point so much that there shouldn't be any ambiguity that Muslims are loyal to this country or not. And those who are not, they should not be hypocrite. They say, yes, I'm not. I am a Muslim, and according to Islam, I cannot be loyal to a non-Muslim country, so I'm not loyal. So speak out then. Why you are just keeping silence and say to those who are speaking out that it is not going to create any effect? We say that don't live as hypocrite, you should live as grateful, and cannot keep disorder. I have already discussed that. A word of warning: if we don't do that, what will happen? If we don't do this, if we are not part of this campaign, we have to face an ongoing damage and destruction of every Muslim's civic, financial, national, international rights and welfare. And this is happening in different countries. This has already happened in France. The women, Muslim women, cannot have the veil or parda. It is illegal. There are laws in Holland, in Denmark. The Prime Minister of Australia has spoken very bluntly to the Muslims that if you are not, if you don't like our country, if you don't like our laws, then even if you have Australian immigration or citizenship, we will strip that citizenship and we will pack you and send home. So, but I'm saying that it is not a political statement. We have no other option. This is the religious responsibility of every Muslim who believes in the Holy Quran and who believes in the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Terrorism has never had a place in Islam, we say. We, the members of Ahmadiyya Muslim community, have been condemning terrorism ever since our community was formed over 120 years. It did not start 10 years ago after 9/11. On 9/11, the terrorists did not just hijack planes. They hijacked by faith Islam, the faith of 1.6 billion Muslims. This is a reality. They tried to do it, and for some time I think they were successful, and they had the agenda of Muslims, and whatever they said, people thought that, oh, this is Islam. So they hijacked Islam and the agenda of Muslims. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community have taken it to on itself to snatch the flag of Islam from their murderous hands through our Muslims for Peace campaign and Muslim for Loyalty campaign. What is Muslim for Loyalty Peace campaign? Go to the next slide, or to the flyer. You have these flyers in front of you. Everybody has this, and I can report here. May 2010, we started this campaign after Faisal Shahzad, a Pakistani Muslim American, an unfortunate casualty at the hands of terrorists. He was from a very good family, very educated family. He himself had an engineering degree. He was an MBA. He was working and he became a terrorist, and he wanted to blow Times Square in New York. When it happened, we called a press conference in National Press Club in Washington. I addressed and I said, now we will go to door. We will reach Americans and we tell them that whatever he wanted to do, Islam has nothing to do with this, and we will promote, next slide, we will promote the verse which is written here, whosoever killed a person, it shall be as if he had killed all mankind. Killing of one person is killing of whole humanity. This is from the Holy Quran. And I said, how can we take this and just sit idle and do nothing? I can report that we reached 60 million Americans with this campaign. Not only by going door to door, but with the media coverage, electronic and print media. We never made media responsible for all this. They came forward and they said this is a peaceful message and this is a positive message, and they gave us coverage, and we reached 60 million Americans with this message that Islam is a religion of peace and not terrorism. Now, in January of this year, Ahmadiyya Muslim Community in the United States has started this campaign, Muslim for Loyalty. And we raise this question, go next slide, should Muslim living in America be loyal to America? And we presented the verses which I have quoted, the tradition of Prophet Muhammad which I have quoted, and we are planning to reach 100 million Americans with this message. And you might have heard, we have put big banners on buses in Washington area, in New York City for months, where we put this in the metro. In so many other places, we rented billboard in Times Square, big electronic board, and Muslim for Loyalty, Muslim for Peace, and we are sure that till the end of this year we will reach 100 million Americans with this message, and we will keep on doing this until we think that this is now a point which is so hammered that everybody believes in that. And this is the right message. This is a message which comes from the source, does not come from a person like me and giving any personal opinion. Now go to the next slide. As I said, on 9/11, it was not only the few aeroplanes, it was the hijacking of the religion of Islam. As you know, on about 10 days, more than 10 days ago, we got this news that Osama bin Laden has been traced and killed, body has been disposed of. And I had the sigh of relief. I, along with hundreds of millions of Muslims, were satisfied that a murderer, a person who has hijacked the religion of Islam and who became as if the leader of Islamic terrorism, has been brought to justice. I am sure that with his death, the backbone of Al-Qaeda has been broken. I'm sure that without him, perhaps Al-Qaeda will not be able to operate. But it would be naive to think that the problem of terrorism is finished or this is over. It is not over until it is over. I can assure you there are thousands of madrasas or Muslim religious schools in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, even in Europe, in London, England, or in Berlin, in many other places, where on daily basis kids are being brainwashed in the name of jihad or holy war, and they are being told that this is our religious responsibility, that we should get out and kill Christians and Jews and especially Americans. And this problem is not over until we have taken care of, we have tackled that problem. And this war is going on, and perhaps it will continue for some time. So I plead to you that we should all, Muslims and non-Muslims, Christians and Jews, Hindus and Sikhs, and all peace-loving, moderate atheists, we should come together and we say, we will work together and we will try our best to make sure that this problem is taken care of. It's very strange. The next campaign which Ahmadiyya Muslim Community is going to start is Muslim for Life. Nothing to do with abortion. This is Muslim for Life, and I always had this desire that I wanted to take blood from 10,000 Ahmadi Muslims in Canada, but that blood was not needed at that time. But I am making sure that on the 10th anniversary, and this program was finalized a couple of months ago, and nothing to do with the death of Osama bin Laden. The program is that on 9/11/2011, we will have blood donation camps all across the country, wherever we have Ahmadiyya community, and we will donate blood, at least 10,000 bags, and I am told that it will save about 30,000 lives. And I am going to request my brothers and sisters from other faiths that this is an initiative we need, that you come on board and work with us. The terrorists want to cause death and destruction. We want to show practically that Islam stands for the sanctity of life. This is the sweet, life-giving revenge we want to exact from those who hijacked Islam for their own nefarious purposes 10 years ago. Thank you very much for your patience. May God bless you. May God bless United States of America.
Thank you very much, Vice President Naseem Mahdi. Now we have some time before dinner to ask some questions and answers. Does everyone have the cards on the table? And if they'd like to hand those cards forward. And if you want to direct the questions to any one of the panelists.
Well, I was asked to come here by Afia Nakawi, who is a Shia from the Shia community. And I was asked to read what she had to say, but to be frank, I'm not going to read it because you said everything about it. But I have something else I want to say. My husband and I have traveled, and over the last 10 or 15 years, we've been with Muslims in Morocco and India and Indonesia. We have friends here that are from Turkey, from Iran, from Lebanon, from Afghanistan, and the ones that we adore from Pakistan. I love all of them. And we were blessed. Last year I was a chairman, co-chairman, bringing Greg Mortensen here, who I still 100% think he's a wonderful man. And in this process, the Pakistan American community joined us to put this program on. And as we say at St. Luke's United Methodist Church, we have an awful lot to learn from these people in kindness, in love, and caring. And I wanted to also tell you that Mustafa is president of the Pakistan American Friendship Association now, and we're putting on a huge event, which I hope all of you will come to, on July 16th at St. Luke's United Methodist Church. It's going to be a family-friendly event. Bring your children, your grandchildren. It's going to be lots of fun. We're going to have dancing and music and Pakistani wedding and a style show, and it goes on, and a dinner. And I also want to mention there that as a representative of St. Luke's, I have a committee that works on programs where we are working to educate in our church and in our community, not just the church, but in our community, about other cultures and faiths. So the people that will be publicizing this event will be Hindus, Buddhists, Native Americans, Jews, progressive spiritualists, and so on. I won't go on anyway. And the second thing I want to say is, I know Charlie, you have a special event on 9/11. Is that correct?
I'm working with a group at Christian Theological Seminary.
Well, we have a special event too in the Spiritual Life Center, and we're going to have a 12-hour prayer vigil at the 10th anniversary of 9/11, and that 12-hour vigil will be an hour of the Muslim community, an hour of the Jewish community, the Native American community, the Buddhists, and so forth and so on. And I hope many of you will drop in for 30 minutes. And each group will do nothing that we tell them to do. They will do whatever is their practice and their faith.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lynn. And I know many of you in this community are aware of the fabulous work that goes on at St. Luke's Methodist Church. It's an exemplary congregation that reaches out to the neighbors and celebrates the diversity that's here among us. There are a couple of questions here, and I'll just read those questions, and then we'll move on towards dinner. Mr. Naseem Mahdi, what % of Muslim Americans do Ahmadiyya Muslims represent?
There are 1.5, 1.6 billion Muslims, and we are just over 100 million. And if you have an iPhone, just check the percentage.
And a follow-up, do non-Ahmadiyya Muslims object to the type of message you presented here this evening?
I personally believe that vast majority of the Muslims would agree with me, and they are loyal and law-abiding and peaceful and grateful people. A very small minority will disagree, but that very small minority is vocal and violent, and the vast majority of moderates are silent and sometimes cowards.
And a follow-up question, and this question is addressed to Mr. Mahdi, but I think anyone at the panel could answer this question, because this came to my mind too. I know as an Arab American, my grandfather came here from Lebanon. He was an Orthodox Christian in 1904, but I was inspired by the Arab Spring. I was inspired by people who maybe defied the definition that you offered us about how we would organize against a government that we think is unjust. So the question is, how do you view the Arab Spring uprising given your opposition to civil disobedience? And again, I would open that up to anyone on the panel.
I think majority of those people who are part of this uprising, you will see that in Egypt, for such a long time they were all peaceful, and they were just a peaceful gathering in Tahrir Square. But then it was the government who was trying to instigate them. You saw that how the people came on the horses, and also they came in van and they pushed people. They also tried to create disorder. So in many cases, people were peaceful, and it was the government who was trying to create disorder. So, but those vast majority of masses, if they are not told that this is not the right way to do, but they can have peaceful demonstration, and they can have a peaceful voice against a dictator. But you see how things are happening, and they are being crushed with the iron hand by all those dictators, those who are committing atrocities. So it is very complex situation that people have been wronged for decades, and they have nowhere to go. And when they want to demonstrate peacefully, they are being killed. So those people, most of them, perhaps they have come to a point where they feel that there's nothing left, and this has to be done like this. But they are not being guided by the Muslim scholars but in normal circumstances, I say that if people knew, they could have not done it in certain countries. But these are the governments who are creating disorder, and not those peaceful demonstrators who are just asking. People say that all we want is to treat us as humans. Somebody said that in Egypt. He said, I have no demand. I just beg that just treat us as human beings.
Any of the panelists like to comment? Well, I think this is a good follow-up question as well. And the person who's writing this question says they mean no disrespect to Islam or to the Ahmadiyya community, but you said that immigrants to the west of USA enjoy more freedom than any of the other countries, including their birthplace. If Islam is truly a religion of peace and justice, how does this happen? Why is there this contradiction?
Because I don't find any country where Islam is being practiced in letter and spirit. Can we say that it is Qaddafi's Libya following Islam? Is it Yemen where Islam is being practiced? Or Iran or Saudi? I don't think that there is any. I mean, there was a country, Afghanistan, and governed by Taliban, and this was the worst type of theocracy the world has witnessed perhaps in 100 years. So I don't think that there is a single country where Islam is being practiced in letter and spirit. So we see things are happening here, and I can even tell you that all these things which are being practiced in the United States of America, they are in line with the Holy Quran.
There are these last two or more comments, and just saying how nice of an event this is, and that they would like to sign up for other events. I know I'd be happy to add you to our email list that we send a monthly, we call it an e-bulletin out about different interfaith events, whether it's our organization or others that are hosting something similar, and that someone else is encouraging us, again, to go out and speak to our neighbors, speak to our coworkers, speak to people in our civic and other in our faith traditions to help dispel some of the negative stereotypes and to engage in some authentic dialogue like we had this evening. Do any of the panelists, would they like to share a closing comment?
I just wanted to add that I always go back to what I call the sweater analogy, which is when I first became involved with Muslim Alliance of Indiana, one of the things that as I was traveling the state and talking with folks, I realized that the Muslim community was very engaged civically, but a lot of times it wasn't something where they would pat themselves on the back. And in other words, the events that they were involved in were things that a lot of people did not know. So the 2 points of that I want everybody to take out is sometimes you have to do that because you are doing painstaking work. It's almost as if you're knitting a sweater, and every time the Muslim community does something that is engaging the broader community, you're knitting painstakingly. And it only takes one event for someone to come along and grab the thread and yank it, and then do so much work. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate everybody for being here, and I hope that this will inspire folks, or you appreciate, you have to have tenacity in this, that you're going to have setbacks, but you know, it's such painstaking work.
Well, from my part, as I said during my remarks, thank you very much. It's an honor, really, and a privilege to be able to share this time with you. I have tremendous respect for the Muslim religion. The part of the story that I didn't tell is we went to the mosque and participated in a ceremony to commemorate that young man. And that was my first time in a mosque. And it was a very impressive, very holy ceremony, and I was fortunate enough to go back many times to other mosques in New York since then. But we look forward to reaching out to the Muslim community. We will be inviting you when we hire a new class of recruits in the fall to come and speak to our new police officers. We will also invite you to come and speak as we do our in-service training, because I think it's very important that all of our officers have a sense of the Muslim religion, the Muslim faith, and the contributions that you make to our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Straub. Sarah, did you want to mention something? Yeah. Sarah Archer's with us this evening. She helps train military personnel in just these type of discussions that we're having.
Yeah, I just want to say that, you know, I've been privileged to live in Muslim countries for 15 years. In Jordan, now the occupied territories, in Bangladesh, in Bosnia, in Kosovo, in Senegal, because of my work with a variety of people, including the United States military. And one of the things that I really have learned about our brothers and sisters in Islam, our brothers and sisters in Judaism, and my brothers and sisters as a Christian, we are all children of Abraham. We are all children of the book. And I wish to God we would look at our similarities, our commonalities, the things that we share, and stop looking at the minorities of whom we all have members, Jews, Christians, and Muslims, all of whom are dangerous, no more so than any others. But if we would just look at how similar we are, we might actually have peace in this world.
Thank you, Sarah. And I will make one last flag. I know Len spoke eloquently about Greg Morrison and the fine work that he does. I want to talk about another Pakistani organization that's here in Indianapolis, and actually we share an office with Obad Helpers. And I know Anwar Khan and his family are here today, and Anwar reaches back to the community where he comes from in Pakistan and in Bangladesh, and he serves a community called the Baharis that are living in refugee camps. And Anwar really personally and his family are very much involved in a wonderful organization, and we can adopt schools. We can work with Anwar and Obad Helpers. We can adopt schools here in Indianapolis that will reach out to the Bahari community, and we can learn about these beautiful cultures. So many beautiful things in the Punjab, so many beautiful things in Pakistan, and we shouldn't allow the news and the hate to fill that void, because just amazing things. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Dr. Naseem Mahdi.
I would like to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community USA, on behalf of our community in Indiana. We are very much honored and proud to have all of you here. Honored dignitaries and honored guests, you are all honored, and we pray that this appeal that we all work together for peace and harmony is accepted by all of you, and then the word should be spread in the community. As we are going to end this program, this is our tradition that we end with a silent prayer. I will, and also we are going to break the bread together. We will pray for God's blessing. So I invite all of you to join me in silent prayer. The way you want to pray, you are most welcome. So we will have a moment of silence, and we will pray to God for blessing, and we will pray to God for peace on earth. May God bless us all. Allahumma Ameen. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you all. Thank you for coming. I just wanted to quickly mention that some of the guests may have other engagements, so I'll request that the guests will start the dinner and we'll follow afterwards. Thank you. Thank you all. And by the way, those pens are gifts, so you can take one with you, please.
अब छोड़ दो, अब छोड़ दो जिहाद का ऐ दोस्तों ख्याल दे के लिए हराम है.
All right, firstly, can we have your name and also what you thought of the event Muslims for Loyalty today?
My name is Elia James. I am here representing the Division of Homeland Security for the City of Indianapolis. First of all, I want to thank you for having me here at this wonderful event. I am the outreach director for our office, and I personally want to thank you for having us here. This was a wonderful event to engage the Muslim community. And I just really enjoyed the message of peace that you all provided, and really think that this is the beginning of many more conversations with this community. So I'm very glad to be a part of this.
Okay. On top of what we had as far as the structure of the event today, if you can think off the top of your head some addendums, what would you like to see on top of the, the framework that we had for an event like this?
Well, definitely an expansion, I think, is in order. I think that this message is something that should be expanded to more cultures, to more to all of the different faiths. And I saw representatives from the different faiths, but I also think that there were some that we can bring more that we can bring to the table as well. I just really loved the collaboration of all of this event, and I think expanding it in other areas, and just really having more events, more events like this in general.
Very good. And one last question. Now, some of the things that we brought up in discussion today may be a little too sensitive for, let's say, younger people. People in elementary school. Do you think it would be a good idea to try to move an event like this to settings of younger Americans, or do you think it would be too quick to do that now with everything happening, with Osama bin Laden and whatnot, his recent death?
Well, I do believe that we have to engage our youth. The youth are torch bearers. They're the next generation, and I believe that we have to prepare them, to be a community that is more engaging, to be a community that is more accepting of one another. So I believe starting, with the youth, definitely different youth groups would be excellent, and just sharing this message. So I would applaud that, and hope that that's something in the works.
Thank you. Very good. All right. Firstly, can we have your name? And I also want to ask you what you felt about the event today at Muslims for Loyalty.
Hi, my name is Ben Orbal, and I felt the event tonight was very good. I think it's events like these, we need to perhaps have more events like these, and to find some way to bring more people from different communities, different faith backgrounds, and from different socioeconomic backgrounds as well.
Right. Another question is, as far as bringing the message that we had today to a younger demographic, elementary school children, high school children, if we were to present this to them, in what way should we do it? Because we know that with younger people, it can be a little more sensitive of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that perhaps schools would be open to having somebody come in from different faiths. You'd have somebody from Islamic faith, somebody from Judaism, perhaps Christianity, Hinduism come in and talk about this to younger folks, what their religions represent, a little bit about their cultures and things like that sort. So I think it would be a good thing for kids, because I mean, I think that's where so many of your thoughts on things and perceptions are shaped when you're very young. So.
Very good. Now, I want to ask you, where do you think this country will be in, let's say, another 4 years as far as the general understanding of who Muslims are? Do you think it'll be about the same, better, worse?
I hope it's better. I hope it's better. I think the challenge is that you have so much of this bad media on terrorism, and I think to people who are uneducated or not well read, they tie that with Islam. They don't know the background, what the faith of Islam stands for.
Right.
And so I guess I'm optimistic and hopeful that it's better.
Right.
I think perhaps it might be the same. It might take a while. That's why I think we need to reach to our younger communities.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can't change the mindsets of the older generation, perhaps even my generation, but the young kids, we need to find ways to work with them and to bring everybody together for peace and understanding.
Great. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. All right. Firstly, may we have your name and also your reaction to the event today?
My name is Mian Ahmed. And my reaction, it was awesome. It's a wonderful function. That was the best thing was that the understanding in between the religion, but to understand what religion really is, and what really Islam is. In this American society, people doesn't know much about Islam. So it was a wonderful gathering to make people Islam, to make them understand Islam.
Another question I have for you is, as far as back home in Pakistan being really the center of a lot of media attention having to do with Islam in general, with the government as corrupt as it may be, what do you think are the next steps for Islam, or rather Pakistan, to have a better understanding of the United States, and maybe they're not so much, just looking out for the worst of that country?
Actually, what is happening in Pakistan, that is not exactly the Islam or anything else. That is a fundamentalism, fanaticism. It is better to tell those people, to educate Pakistan, to tell them that religion is not a fundamentalism, not a fanaticism. There are values in the religion which are common for all humankind. This message must be conveyed to the Pakistanis, and what is the real Islam? What they believe probably is not Islam. I'll say really it's not Islam, because in Islam there is no place of fundamentalism. So the basic thing to teach them, to tell them that Islam is not this fundamental. And one thing more, they should tell them that in states, United States, they respect all the religion equally.
Right.
That is it.
Right. One of the things that Mr. Mahdi was conveying was that when it comes to the rights and freedoms in the United States, one thing that really brings to my attention is the First Amendment. The fact that if we want to go out there and we want to bash other people, under the law, it's their freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Now, what do you think has to be done on a legal level to have some of the hate in this country that's allowed because of the First Amendment to have some of that, fixed and going in the right direction, so there's not so much hate?
I'll quote here from Mr. President Lincoln. When somebody stretches his arm And he said, I have all the freedom to stretch my arm.
Right.
But President Lincoln answered, no, from where my nose starts, your freedom is curtailed. So, under the First Amendment even, we shouldn't hurt the other people. We should consider, we should take care of the beliefs of other people. We should say, whatever I want to say about my belief, my religion, I can say.
Right.
But not about other religion or hatred or anything, no. From there no starts, I shouldn't stretch my arm. That's it.
So as a follow-up question, do you think we should actually take measures to make sure that, you know, even though people have free speech, they shouldn't be directing it towards hatred towards others? Do you think there should be a legal change there?
Yes, sure. Because there are certain limitations on every. There's no absolute thing.
Right.
There are certain limitations to every principle. The principle of freedom of speech also have certain limitations, and it should be contained in those parameters. It shouldn't hurt the others.
Absolutely.
That is the only thing I can.
Right, and I agree with you. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Firstly, may we have your name and also your reactions to the event today?
Kathy Rosenberg. I really enjoyed it. I especially enjoyed the food. I am very appreciative to have had Mr. Mahdi here, and I enjoyed his speech and took notes, and I hope that we have more of these types of meetings to promote more understanding and peace. I'm a little bit surprised that there weren't more Jews. One Jew. That there weren't. Yeah. So and I know that Charlie probably sent out invitations, but it is the Sabbath, so I don't know.
Right.
Yes, I think it was a wonderful event.
Very good.
Actually, I'll be going to Turkey in a couple of weeks on something similar for a peace conference between the Israeli embassy and the Turkish journalists. So I'm looking forward to that.
Very interesting. One of the questions that I had earlier for somebody was, even without how great the event was, if it was in your hands, what kind of things would you add to it to make it a little more maybe interactive or just better in general?
Perhaps to break up in small groups and maybe assign, I don't know if assign's the correct word, have a question for each group to discuss, and then have someone as a spokesperson for that group, and then they speak, and then the rest of the audience can comment with them and go around with each group. Have a different topic for each group.
Sounds like we need to put you on the committee, actually.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good organizer, so give me a call.
Absolutely. Now, as far as your outlook on what the United States will generally think of, not only terrorism but Islam in general, in 4 years' time, I'll use that number. Where do you see the state of the nation as far as that? You know, we have a president right now whose heart is, personally I think it's there, but he's having accusations of being a Muslim, but he goes to church on a weekly basis. It just goes to show how bad our interpretation of Islam is in this country, unfortunately. But in 4 years, do you see it at the same spot, better, worse?
I see it as being much better in the future.
Much better?
Yes, I do. And I certainly hope that, and I think that we need to have more education for young people, for our kids in schools. You know, we used to have religion class in schools. We don't do that anymore, do we?
That's a no-no.
And it's a shame, too. It's a loss. I think it's a sad social commentary.
Very good. Thank you very much, Kathy. May we have your name and also just your reaction to the event today?
My name is Mary Allen. I enjoyed the event today. I wish the broader community could have heard the information, and I think it's great that the Islamic community is reaching out to others to dispel some of the myths that we hear from the main media. We see images, negative images. We think, a lot of people think what they see on television represents the larger community.
Absolutely. If we're to introduce the subject matter of today's event to the younger people, high school, maybe elementary school children, how do you think we should go about doing that so it's not too intrusive or people don't overreact, but they're still able to learn?
I think starting at the elementary level, when they're younger, before they've had a chance to develop ideas, they're open to new information.
Right.
And I may have to get parents' approval, because if people get upset about their children seeing President Obama at school speaking,
right,
I think it may create a problem with someone from the community going into the schools without the parents' permission.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Well, thank you very much.
अब छोड़ दो, अब छोड़ दो जिहाद का ऐ दोस्तों ख्याल दे के लिए हराम है अब जंग और क़िताल, अब जंग और क़िताल, अब छोड़ दो जिहाद का, अब छोड़ दो जिहाद का ऐ दोस्तों ख्याल, ऐ दोस्तों ख्याल दीन के लिए हराम है अब जंग और क़िताल, अब छोड़ दो जिहाद। अब आ गया मसीह जो दीन का इमाम है, दीन की तमाम जंगों का अब इख्तिताम है, अब आसमां से नूर खुदा का नुज़ूल है, अब जंग और जिहाद का, अब जंग और जिहाद का फतवा फुजूल है, फतवा फुजूल है, अब छोड़ दो जिहाद, अब छोड़ दो जिहाद। फरमा चुका है सैयदे कौनैन मुस्तफा, ईसा मसीह जंगों का कर देगा इल्तिवा, जब आएगा तो सुलह को वो साथ लाएगा, जंगों के सिलसिले को वो यकसर मिटाएगा, यानी वो वक्त अमन का होगा न जंग का, بھولیں گے لوگ مشغلہ تیرو تفنگ کا، تیرو تفنگ کا، اب چھوڑ دو جہاد. ایک معجزے کے طور سے یہ پیش گوئی ہے، کافی ہے سوچنے کو اگر اہل کوئی ہے. القصہ یہ مسیح کے آنے کا ہے نشان، کر دے گا ختم آ کے وہ، کر دے گا ختم آ کے وہ دین کی لڑائیاں، دین کی لڑائیاں. اب چھوڑ دو جہاد کا اے دوستو خیال، اے دوستو خیال. اب چھوڑ دو جہاد. اب تم میں کیوں وہ سیف کی طاقت نہیں رہی، بھید اس میں ہے یہی کہ وہ حاجت نہیں رہی. اب کوئی تم پہ جبر نہیں غیر قوم سے، کرتی نہیں ہے منع صلاۃ اور صوم سے. اب غیروں سے لڑائی کے معنی ہی کیا ہوئے، تم خود ہی غیر بن کے، تم خود ہی غیر بن کے محل سزا ہوئے، محل سزا ہوئے. اب چھوڑ دو جہاد. سچ سچ کہو کہ تم میں امانت ہے اب کہاں، وہ صدق اور وہ دین و دیانت ہے اب کہاں. پھر جب کہ تم میں خود ہی وہ ایمان نہیں رہا، وہ نور مومنان وہ عرفان نہیں رہا.